Hi, my name is Dave Lesford and I'm part of the Greening Committee here at Lutheran Church of the Cross. The first time I became aware of green issues, in a way, happened almost 40 years ago when I was in a seminary class studying the book of Genesis. We were studying the creation stories and I learned the importance of proper translation work. In this case, it was translating Hebrew into English, and the importance of knowing a little bit of geography and geology of the story. But first, let me read a few verses from Genesis 1. Then God said, "Let us make humankind in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, and over all the wild animals of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." Then another verse. And God blessed them. And God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds, over every living thing." Did you hear a couple of those phrases there? Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds, over the cattle, over the wild animals, every creeping thing. Did you hear those words? Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish, over the birds, over this everything. Seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? That we're supposed to have complete domination over creation. That we're supposed to subdue it and fill the earth in our image. Guess we're supposed to be in charge of creation, and we can do whatever we want. Isn't that right? Isn't that what it says? It's ours to use, or maybe abuse as we see fit. Well, when we actually look at the original Hebrew words for domination and subdue, it actually refers to a noun with a very specific meaning. It actually refers to a person whose job was to open and to close the irrigation gates on the Nile River. That means someone who allows water in the canals to irrigate the crops or to keep the water out. So if there's not enough water, the crops wouldn't grow, and too much water and it would flood and kill the crops. And now remember, the Nile River flooded every year in the spring, and that was great for the farmers because it brought water and silt along with it to replenish the soil, because most of Egypt was sand. So what does this mean, this passage in Genesis? It means that domination over all things really means to be responsible for life and death of the crops, indeed of life itself. It means to watch over the growth and to know when to water and when to stop watering. It means one is sharing in all the creative process of life. It's not about sort of domination or exploitation, but really of being a steward. It's not about what we want, but it's rather about what creation needs. It's about being a caregiver, or maybe actually a better definition would be a park ranger, rather than those insatiable consumers and are only caring about ourselves. Instead of dominating creation, God calls us to share in that creative process of all of nature. God has given humankind this gift of creation for us to use and to care for. And I wonder what our world would look like if each one of us remembered our real calling to be irrigation gatekeepers, to be park rangers, if you will, for all of creation. Caring for creation, not simply exploiting it for ourselves, but keeping it healthy and whole for the next generation and generations after. Keeping a balance with nature. Dominion doesn't mean exploitation, but rather our responsibility or our opportunity to work together with creation. Bringing life-giving water, in all senses of the word, to a world that desperately needs life-giving water. And that's our calling. And God saw all that God had made, and indeed, it was very good. May that be so.